I have a few things I'd like to do here. First, to say, along with John Altenberg, welcome to all of you. I've had a chance to do that individually and in a couple of groups, and of course at our memorial service this afternoon. So welcome to all of you on behalf of my wife, Denise, to all of you here in this 25th anniversary celebration of our victory that liberated the nation of Kuwait. We did it all together. I was trying to think of a word that would capture all this, and lo and behold, my dad saved a newspaper from Reading, Pennsylvania, the Reading Times, and my wife called my attention to it just a few weeks ago. And here's a headline: February 28th, 1991, Reading Times, Reading, Pennsylvania. Victory. That's it. We did that together, just as we're doing everything together during this 25th reunion, as we laid the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown together today. Now, at this point in reunions or dinings in, it's customary for somebody to get up and recite the unit history. Well, let me not do that. You wrote the unit history. You know the unit history. Some of you have written about it. Some of you have published books about it. We have two historians here with us tonight, Pete Kinsvater, who was our 7th Corps historian, and Steve Bork, who wrote the book Jayhawk, and others here who have published articles and written about our experience. So you know the history, and I would encourage each of you to tell your stories. We have the Army Historic Education Center here. Tell your story. Tell your story from the battlefield. Tell your story from deployment. And tell your story from the home and what our families did. You know the history as well as anyone. And in this age of social media, that is a rich source of information. It brings what happened alive from what happened at home, the deployment, the training prior to the attack itself, and then the 7 weeks of humanitarian operations after the ceasefire. We also want to remember here, in addition to having the opportunity to visit with each other, we want to remember, as we did this afternoon at the chapel at Fort Myer, our thanks to Chaplain Wayne Lara for his always moving service, as he has done each year, and to our very own Lieutenant General Karen Dyson for her inspiring and thoughtful remarks as a former commander. And General Dyson, if you would join me up here, I'd like to present just a small token of our appreciation for your moving remarks this afternoon and the esteem we all hold you in as a commander during Desert Shield days. Now, permit me to do a few things. I'd like to introduce our wounded warriors. John has already done that. I'd like to first introduce Corporal Paul Skarinka. Paul is sitting as appropriate at John Tillelli's table. He's hosting him with General Beckton because Paul was severely wounded on September 13, 2004 by a rocket-propelled grenade while serving in Cobra Company, 2nd Battalion, 8th United States Cavalry, 1st Cavalry Division. Paul underwent about 25 plus surgeries, left the hospital, went back to his native Massachusetts to work as a first responder, and the medical condition of his leg got to the point where he elected to have his leg amputated this last fall at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, and he's recovering from that. He's here with his spouse Jennifer and they have 2 children, Noah and Liliana, and he hopes to return to Massachusetts and continue his work as a first responder in service to his community. Would you please welcome? I'd also like to introduce to you Sergeant First Class Jake Green. Jake enlisted from Sacramento, California into the Army in 2004. He deployed 6 times so far, the global war on terrorism. He was first wounded in 2009 in Afghanistan, and then again in 2013 in Logar province in Afghanistan. Jake is a below-the-knee amputee. He has continued on active duty, and he continues to serve in his 3rd Special Forces Group. He's married. His wife Kelly is here with him tonight, and they have 2 sons, Mark and Ethan. Please welcome Sergeant First Class Jake Kelly. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Bob Barr. Bob, are you here? Over here. Bob graduated with Bachelor of Arts from University of Kansas, Duke University Master of Science degree in physical therapy. Been a physical therapist for 40 years. Served in active duty 1979 until September 2003. Bob works in the MAT-C, the rehab facility up at National Military Medical Center at Walter Reed. And Bob, along with his whole team, is one of those who helps our veterans back up again and to go on in life. Bob, welcome. Thank you. It's been our custom at each of our reunions to do this. It's a way of our connecting to the current Army and those who serve, their selfless service and their sacrifice. Our scholarships, of course, is also an investment in the present and also an investment in the future on behalf of those 111 of our Corps who gave that last full measure. I would also like to say thanks to, as your chairman of the 7th Corps Desert Storm Veteran Association Board, to our co-chairs, Colonel Mark Rado and Mr. Stan Lennox, again, for their superb work in planning for a year now, and now the execution of our reunion. To our outgoing board, already recognized by John Altenberg, to my friend Ron Griffith for his leadership as president of our association over these past number of years, our 3rd president of our association. Ron, thank you and for your leadership of our association. I said I wasn't going to recite the history, but just permit me to talk about a couple of firsts. And you know this as well as I do. The first that in 1990, our Corps was ordered from its forward deployed location to deploy again. The first time our Army had done that It's done routinely now, but it was not in that era. We also united with the British. For the first time, British and American soldiers together in the desert on a battlefield, fighting a common enemy since the early 1940s. And we're very honored to, of course, have General Sir Rupert Smith and his wife and our British comrades here with us at our reunion. Another first was to go from a relatively small battle space in Central Europe with very familiar terrain, mainly in a defensive set, and deploy to probably, without exaggeration, the most different type of terrain conditions you could ever get into from central Germany. Against a different enemy. And I'm sure there are a few stories about the terrain. One of our soldiers did say, when looking around at the terrain, we put our assembly areas in and we did some of our training, that God did indeed rest on the seventh day. Well, we weren't used to that. But as you live and operate in the desert after a while, it takes on its own beauty and sunrises, and we had the opportunity to witness some of that. But we went from a small battle space against a known enemy to a different, larger, much larger battle space, given the order to attack, which our Army had not done much of over the years of the Cold War, against a totally different enemy. Another first was to combine our corps from forces all over Europe. We got the 3rd Armored Division from 5th Corps in Europe. We got 21,000 members of the reserve component from all over the United States. We got the Big Red 1 from Fort Riley, the 1st Cavalry Division from Fort Hood, Texas, in addition to deploying units from Europe. Combined forces from all over the world to form this combined, mighty, largest armored corps ever fielded by the United States of America, or the United Kingdom for that matter, in the history of both of our armies. And then perhaps the ultimate first was to deploy from already deployed locations and leave our families there. I remember somebody asked Denise, "Are you going home?" She said, "What are you talking about? I am home. This is my home." And all of our families in Europe felt that way. Done routinely now, but it was anything but routine 25 years ago. And then as your former commander, to tell you with deep and enduring affection and great respect for your selflessness, your courage, your teamwork, your great skill, born of intense training and focus on combat fundamentals. No, there was no magic to it at all. It was hard work. It was teamwork. It was fight as you train. It was focus on our mission objectives and on our soldiers. It was a soldier who would say, "Look around you. This is my family. We've all been through the same thing. These people are all my family." Or a soldier, a non-commissioned officer who would say, "Nobody wants to go to war, but we're professionals. This is what we do." Or a junior enlisted soldier who would say, "They asked for our help. We're going to give them that help. We're going to free their country, and then we're going to go home and carry on with life." That was a private first class. Or a mother of a soldier who wrote to his squadron commander, "It was training and teamwork that kept my son alive. It was discipline, just good, hard soldier, tough, intense, battle-focused training that led to our ability to conduct that offensive move and the 90-degree turn and the liberation of Kuwait, which the ambassador so eloquently gave thanks for just a few minutes ago. We said, win the first battle of the next war. Well, we did that. And then we won the next one and the ones after that. Be trained and ready, train to standards. Well, you did that in your formations and in our attack. You were relentless. Nothing would stand in your way. Not weather, not deployment problems. Nothing would stand in your way. You were relentless in the most powerful armored attack that we have ever seen, fielded by the United States Army or both of our countries. Thank you for that. We did that together. And I want to add what John Umberg said. I want to pay special tribute to our families, those who stayed in forward deployed locations when their service members deployed from Germany, and those in the United States and the United Kingdom as well. There was no formal program such as exists today, such as family readiness groups. Our families made it up. They formed family assistance centers, often doing the work themselves, rearranging rooms, repainting walls, putting in communications, as it were. In Germany, as John has already mentioned, they got great support from our U.S. Commander, General Butch Saint, who set conditions for our success and that of our families. Our families met often to keep the information flowing. Went to the family assistance centers where you could get the facts. Building close and supportive teams, putting up yellow ribbons, as some got from family in the United States, as Denise was able to do from her brother-in-law who ran a dairy, and they had access to yellow ribbon that soon arrived in Stuttgart, the Meadow Farms Dairy in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, to publish newspapers, newsletters. In Stuttgart, the one was named Sandpaper, and others all around the Corps. It was an innovative, creative toughness from our spouses and families that put all this together and aided by our friends in Germany and the German Armed Forces, and also here in the United States and the United Kingdom. That established, I believe, the major activities and procedures that began the U.S. Army's organizational moves to what finally became Family Readiness Group that are so well employed and do so well for families during the 15 years of this war. Thank you to our families. You served your own brand of courage. God bless you for what you did 25 years ago and the path you began for family readiness. I believe it's a story not yet fully told. Now, we were blessed to have as our Commander-in-Chief President George H.W. Bush, leader also of the 35-nation coalition, who from the first said, as the ambassador has already mentioned, this will not stand, this aggression against Kuwait. And you recall the Iraqis invaded Kuwait on the 2nd of August 1990. President Bush said that on the 5th of August 1990. He then used all the elements of national power to build a coalition, attempting to resolve the situation with means other than force. Him being a World War II combat veteran, he understood the price to be paid. And then when those means did not work, and under a UN resolution laid out clear and precise strategic and military objectives that translated to our own plans for conduct of the victorious attack and humanitarian actions that followed. I believe we could feel the steel in President Bush's will from the Oval Office to our tank turrets. President Bush, as you know, spoke to our reunion in 1999, and I've been in the habit since then of keeping in touch with him through his administrative assistant, passing on the best wishes of all of us for some various things that have happened in his life. I recently asked him if he would send a message on the occasion of this 25th reunion, and he did so, and I want to read it now. You have copies of that, I believe, were available during your registration. To members of 7th Corps Desert Storm Veterans Association, your able leader and respected friend, General Franks, wrote me about your upcoming 25th reunion, and I'm very happy to have the opportunity to send greetings to all gathered for this milestone occasion. The decision to commit our sons and daughters to battle is never easy for a president, but after Saddam Hussein's invasion of Kuwait in 1990, I felt we had no choice but to take a stand against this act of aggression. I had full confidence in the ability of our military to complete our mission, and 7th Corps exceeded my expectations. No surprise there. You maintained a legacy of operational excellence, and the role you played in achieving our objective was immeasurable. Both Barbara and I have a special place in our hearts for the military members and families who served during Operation Desert Storm. Also close to our hearts are memories of heroes who never came home. And I join you in paying special tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice for freedom. This Navy man and former Commander-in-Chief salutes every veteran in attendance and thanks you for your service to our country. I hope this reunion is an occasion marked by pride in your selfless contribution to a successful mission. Certainly my pride in each one of you knows no bounds. With respect and lasting gratitude, George H.W. Bush. Thank you. God bless you. Enjoy your dinner and each other's company in this silver anniversary of our 89-hour, 250-kilometer attack that, as part of the coalition, liberated the nation of Kuwait. Thank you very much.